AUM that Kotak Private has is like 8,57,600 crores, right?
Hmm.
Do you deal with like Ambani's, Adani's, or what?
You can say so, yeah. 58% of the HNI is banked with
Hey
us.
Pranjal, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Himanshu. Good to be here.
So, जैसे हम पहले ही बात कर रहे थे, you do not need to be prepare anything. सब वैसे ही है जैसे अपन बात करते हैं, ठीक है?
Impromptu.
So यार नॉर्मल वैसे ही रखते हैं, ठीक है? तो since you come from a background like I'll tell audience a brief, like you come from a background of banking, FEMA, whether it's HSBC, whether it's now Kotak, So you have an experience in that too. You are a DVP, right, in Kotak, and previously you were a VP,
Yeah.
HSBC. So
Yeah.
lot of
It's a larger role here, but it's just a designation. So,
yeah.
नाम में क्या रखा है?
So, but your stakeholders that you interact with are usually HNIs, high HNIs, and I also saw कि Kotak की website पे लिखा हुआ है that the AUM that Kotak Private has is like 8,57,600 crores, right? So पहली चीज यार यही बताओ कि do you deal with like Ambani's, Adani's, or what?
You can say so, yeah. So essentially, I think it's a tagline of Kotak Private. Also, if you must have seen on the website, the 52% of the
58.
richest, 58% of the HNI is bank with us, and if you don't, then you should actually. So so that's the idea, and obviously, who's who of the Indian ultra HNS circle, I would say, are our clients. We are proud to have them on board, and obviously cater to their needs. And when I talk about needs, it's just not their personal side. Obviously, it's the corporate side, family side, any kind of investment they're doing in domestically, internationally. If they're planning to go for an IPO or doing an acquisition. So anything and everything that can be given or provided to them, extended to them, is being done. And obviously, all these are my takeaways from that. So obviously, nothing you would find more on official lines on the website, but that's my take.
और छोटे में कहूँ तो anything, everything that involves large sum of money.
Yeah.
So what
To make them money and obviously to utilize what they have earned and what they have the wealth. So essentially, it's more on the wealth creation. So I think if we talk about, there are two aspects, right? You would also agree. एक होता है कि wealth कैसे grow करना है और एक होता है कि बहुत पैसे कमाने हैं. दोनों, they both are different things altogether.
बताओ.
Wealth is a long-term thing that our parents used to tell us that that you should have so much that your next generation should be well-to-do, right? That's what creating wealth is. So it's a never-ending process. It keeps on going. It's I think you cannot be satisfied. I have earned 100 crore out of the I created a startup, sold it off, got the 100 crore. I'm happy, but that doesn't happen like that. From what the 100 crore, what you do, that's very important. So yeah.
तो मैं भी एक पॉडकास्ट वगैरह या कोई कुछ बुक वगैरह पढ़ रहा था, तो उसमें यही था कि वेल्थ है इसकी जब तुम पैसे को काम पे लगाओ, और वो जो हम दूसरी बात कर रहे थे इतना कमाना, दैट इज व्हेन तुम अपने आप को काम पे. So basically जब पैसा काम पे लगा हुआ है, that is wealth, right?
Right. And like, for example, just for example's sake, okay, and when I would say when Whitehead Junior got sold off, and Mr. Bajaj, he didn't just sit on it, right? He started his own podcast, started his YouTube channel. Even you would see a lot of other famous founders, I would say. They started that because they thought, yeah, paisa aa gaya hai. Obviously, there's somebody like us and on the back end who's actually helping them out and deploying that money. Okay. Obviously, they create their own VC funds. They invest in their own, they have that circle that they know, they have that visibility कि यार पैसा कहाँ जाना चाहिए. And obviously, they have put it in the market, right? And markets are obviously going on a very positive trend. Overall, I'm saying not right now, but overall, it's going on a positive trend. Okay. but that's how everybody has been like, right?
Hmm.
But you would obviously have stories where somebody has sold off, got so much money,
Hmm.
but then just spulged it everywhere,
Hmm.
and now they are struggling. So like it happens in the case of celebrities, you would say,
Hmm.
because they don't focus on wealth creation per se, right? So
But don't you think
that's,
कि
I think, how
उनका
it
their
is.
business is social capital creation?
But yeah, how they capitalize it, right?
Hmm.
So
That's
uh,
monetize
you
it.
look at somebody like Ori, right?
Hmm.
So I'm pretty sure. So he comes from well-to-do family. If
Hmm.
I have whatever I have read about him, and he has generated his own social capital, and now then he has gone ahead and monetized it, right?
Hmm.
So that's what he has done. But then you have celebrities who were once were apple of the eye, right? Everybody wanted to cast them, or maybe have them on their show or something like that. Like Honey Singh, what happened to him? Okay, he was, he was everywhere, I believe, when he came on the scene, and then he vanished. Medical reasons, and obviously when he tried to come back, it took him time because he had lost all the social capital, as
Yeah.
well as he if you he listened to his podcast, that he was in not in a good company also. So they're part and parcel, yeah. So,
Hmm.
and you would say there are a lot of, I think there are a lot of I'm there are a lot of lesser known celebrities who have made a lot of wealth. Okay,
Shahrukh Khan is
just
one
for
of
an example, Shah Rukh Khan, obviously he
billionaire.
is focused always on making wealth, right? So he's a very good businessman. If
Hmm.
you read about him, right, he's just not a
Yes.
good actor or a celebrity. He's a very good businessman also.
Hmm.
Same with Sunil Shetty, I would say. I think
Yes.
he's doing well. I think
I also for the
so. Yeah,
actresses part, like I recently heard, like in the top, the among the top 10 actors, the first was I guess Sushmita Sen. If I'm not wrong, I'm not exactly remembering, but she's not an actress that is right now in the current mainstream thing. She's an
yeah. So
like
I think if you read about the taxpayers, right, top 10 taxpayers from Bollywood of that last this financial which went by, Kareena Kapoor was one of them, yeah, and there were a lot of other actresses that we see so much of. They were not even part of that list. So, and Kareena, she featured in like one or two movies, I would say, last
mm,
year, and but she must have done a lot of other work that went unnoticed, right?
mm,
So that's how it is. Yeah? She's focusing on creating wealth. I think Akshay Kumar puts it very
mm,
nicely in one of his interaction I saw with Ranveer Singh, that किसी की शादी है मैं वहां जाऊंगा, किसी का बर्थडे है मैं वहां जाऊंगा, ठीक है, किसी के बच्चे का मुंडन है मैं वहां जाऊंगा, because obviously he's focusing on that, how I can monetize what I have created right now. Okay,
mm,
even if he has 10, 11 flops, right, at
mm,
one point of time he had like 15, 16 flops, right, but he has still been relevant in all those years
mm,
because he was aware about his brand, his what he's trying to achieve out of
mm.
it. So yeah, so all that matters, and all that goes into this.
Yeah, the female actress which I was talking, just correcting, it was not Sushmita Sen,
Mhm.
it was Juhi Chawla. She is the
Ah,
yes top wealthiest actress. So yeah,
so she's also yeah, so she's into a lot of business, right?
yeah.
Even KKR, she's into KKR, and KKR as a brand is doing a lot of things. So indirectly, she would create a wealth, right? So you have to understand the whole chain also.
True, 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 true. I also think कि ये वाली प्रॉब्लम और इवेल्युएट होगी. रीजन बीइंग जैसे जैसे मोबाइल और डेटा का पेनिट्रेशन बढ़ा रहा है, मोर क्रिएटर्स आर कमिंग
Mm.
टू द प्ले एज फ्रॉम द क्रिएटर इकोनॉमी इज
Right.
कंसर्न्ड. और उधर भी
Mm.
लोगों को सोशल कैपिटल तो मिल रहा है, लेकिन हर कोई वेल जनरेट नहीं कर पा रहा, हर कोई उसे मोनेटाइज
Right,
नहीं
right,
कर पा
right.
रहा. That's also a place where I think
I think beer biceps is a very good example here.
yes.
Whatever people make mock him or make
Hmm.
memes about him, I think he has created his own niche. He has created his own platforms and built on it. Maybe he he has copied somebody from the West. It doesn't matter. I think it hardly matters to us, right? At that point of time, there was no Hindi creator who I think आज तो कोई भी दिख जाएगा कि from 100 kgs to 75 kgs fit and all, right, obviously, but that point of time when he came there was nobody
Hmm.
who was doing it in a Hindi language, somebody from India.
Hmm.
So he capitalized it and then moved it and made a whatever he's right now. Yeah,
Even
he
with
got the I think Content Creator of the Year out. I think award also. So
yeah,
made
I
a name out of himself.
met him once in Bangalore, and he's a super humble guy in that sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Looks
um,
like, yeah. So obviously.
yeah. Coming to the things back. हम थोड़ा मूवी साइड में क्रिएटर साइड में चले गए थे. Coming to your
Right.
main forte,
Yeah.
generating
Yeah.
paisa, managing wealth, right? So you have been also involved in FEMA, right? जो
Yeah.
foreign transactions, पैसा आना जाना and
Mm.
all of that. So FEMA का पहले तो एक बार full
Right.
form बता दो audience के लिए.
Foreign Exchange Management Act.
Yeah.
So essentially, this is an act or this is a set of guidelines or rules set led up by the regulator of India, which tells anybody who's gonna involve in cross-border remittance or raising funds, any kind of transaction related to that. So it lays down a guideline what you can do, cannot do,
And
what is permitted, what is not permitted.
it is very much used in the wealth management space, right?
See, its knowledge is very important, and that's why you see a lot of wealthy family have family offices and people who are knowledgeable in this CA, CS, or anybody who has experience of a Big Four or similar firms handling them. Because why? There are a lot of primary and secondary happening all the time, right? So, uh, one is I have my own startup. Okay, now I have branched out, right?
Mm.
I had a startup, sold it off, have a lot of wealth, invested it again. Okay. Now, obviously, whenever that particular startup would go for the next round of funding, I'll also dilute something. Okay. So, because that's the investment methodology that, I'll dilute little, hold on to it, and then dilute the next time again.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So I'll hope, because every time I get a better valuation also. Okay.
Yeah.
So and that's how you create wealth. But then you should be aware of that. For example, there's a PN3 guidelines that whoever is investing into India should not be sharing a land border with us, or basically should not be from China and Hong Kong,
Yeah.
right? So having a knowledge of it, it's very important. Secondly, a lot of these family offices or trust they create, they want to invest abroad or maybe set up a subsidiary in US, UK. So they need knowledge of it, like because it's one thing having a lot of money, it's the other thing deploying that money in a way that is complied with the local regulation, which is India, and the global regulation or the local jurisdiction abroad. And I think that's where a lot of clients face trouble, and that's where we come into the picture. Advising, I would not say advising, obviously advising is not a bank's job, but assisting them, showing them the right path, in case they whatever they plan to do, structure that. For example, they want to acquire a company, they want to do a merger. We would tell them that what are the do's and don'ts that you should be looking into, what are the checks that you should do. For example, if you are doing an overseas investment, right? Then there are certain set of guidelines that you need to follow.
So
If you
basically,
are
it is
doing
playing a
raising funds, yeah,
key role, right, in the investment things, in the foreign.
yeah. So yeah. So because RBI, what they have done in the recent past, they have delegated a lot of powers to the AD Bank. AD is authorized dealer bank, which is all your banks like ICICI, HDFC, Kotak, Axis. Big banks that we know of, the major PSU banks and the MNC banks like HSBC, Stancy City. So they are called AD banks. Okay, so they have given more power to them to make their own decisions, right? And then the banks in turn are responsible to have the knowledge of the bona fide of the transaction, like what is happening, who are the people who are selling, who are the people who are buying, or are their KYCs intact, are they from which countries that they belong to, what is the underlying their इक्विटी है तो कितनी इक्विटी है, फेयर वैल्यू है कि नहीं, आर्म्स लेंथ पे ट्रांजैक्शन हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा, सो ऑल दैट ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग फॉलो हो रही है.
आई ऑल्सो सॉ कि मैं बताता हूँ, मेरे को सही बताऊँ, फेमा के बारे में दो जनों से अवेयरनेस मिली थी, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, बैक 2 years बैक. एक थे यू, when I got in touch with you, you were in HSBC also, was looking out like FEMA transactions and all of that.
Right.
Because there is one startup who I helped raise was Seri. They raised from international investors and they faced problem in that getting the money. थोड़ा टाइम लगा था, बैंक के साथ कोई दिक्कत हुई थी उनके में भी. So that's what I recognized कि FEMA का वहाँ पे बहुत बसड़ रहती है। एंड दैट टू मेरे को अभी पढ़ते समय पता लगा कि फेमा इज नॉट दैट कि भाई नॉर्मल बैंकिंग बसड़ है। इट्स मोर लाइक कि भाई इसमें ईडी भी इन्वॉल्व है, समथिंग,
सेबी भी इन्वॉल्व है,
या सेबी भी इन्वॉल्व है।
फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री भी involved है, yes.
या सो टेल मी इन दैट सेंस कि अगर कोई जैसे बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स है हु आर रेजिंग फ्रॉम
हम्म,
इंटरनेशनल फंड, राइट, तो
हम्म.
उनके कैपिटल आने में तुम्हें ऐसी कौन सी टॉप 3 चीजें लगती हैं कि जो यूजुअली मिस करते हैं, मिस्टेक्स करते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ जहाँ पे फेमा में दिक्कत आएगी?
So essentially when they are doing पैसा कॉलिंग करना होता है, एफडीआई बोलते हैं उसको, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट
हम्म,
इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, राइट. सो इट कैन हैपन एट एनी leg of their journey.
हम्म,
The major problem happens is the first time it's happening now,
हम्म,
that people don't pay attention to what's happening.
हम्म,
Uh, I'm not sure if you were there. We had a session where it was discussed with a lot of founders, and they were saying the same thing, that why should I pay somebody 50,000 or 1 lakh
हम्म,
rupee to ensure that this doesn't
हम्म,
happen, right? And it's not the bank. We don't charge,
हम्म,
and they don't even come to us. But as a bank, we don't even charge. So what they tell us that you should hire a good CA, good lawyer.
हम्म,
You be very robust from the starting of it, right? And obviously these law firms and the CAs, right? You have to identify good people. Obviously in the ecosystem you'll find it, right? I'm pretty sure when I spoke to Rishabh and you also, that I've always emphasized that we should always promote good people in the ecosystem, that
हम्म,
so that people who are starting up new or just struggling know that who's the right person to reach out to, right? That's also a challenge always, right? So but when you're starting, you should have the right ecosystem partners, right?
हम्म,
So when you have that,
हम्म,
it's sorted from day one, because a bank will come to you, they will tell you this needs to be done like this. You might not able to understand because that's not your area of expertise, right?
हम्म,
But somebody who is a CA, who is into handling the startup,
हम्म,
would be the right person to understand what exactly is expected out of you, and he or she will do this, right? So that's one thing. I think they should hire somebody or have somebody on roll
हम्म,
who would actually understand, because as you grow, they will always be your partner. They will understand कि क्या क्या कब क्या आपने किया है.
हम्म,
So you'll not have to. You can have them in house. You can have them, outsource it, but at least have somebody. Second, I would say, when proper due diligence is not taken on the investor part also, right?
हम्म,
So you not checked, like, if there's any Chinese person or a Hong Kong person who's the ultimate beneficial owner of the company who's investing into you, or they have a Ukraine or Russia tie-up, because
हम्म,
right now, India is not allowing remittances coming from Ukraine or Russia, or the people of belonging
हम्म,
that nationalities, right? Or is it a genuine fund or not? I have seen
हम्म,
that, okay, I've raised so much, I have signed the SHAs, just getting done. It's been 7 months, it's not getting done
हम्म,
because you didn't pay or do your proper due diligence, right? So
बंद था।
those things happen, and you should be more vouchful of it. And third would be simple thing. Whenever you're getting the money,
हम्म,
ensure that we call it, so this is called Swift, right? Swift is a bank to bank communication. It's like a telegram. So
हम्म,
जो मैं वैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने हिमांशु को टेलीग्राम भेजा, ठीक है.
हम्म,
सिमिलरली एक जो आपका बाहर से पैसा आ रहा होता है,
हम्म,
और whoever is remitting the money, for example JP Morgan Chase remits 100 USD to Kotak Mahindra Bank, okay. Now they will send me a Swift in MT103 format. They are different format. Good, you don't know, it's fine, but you need to understand the concept of Swift, okay.
हम्म,
It has different fields which covers a different set of information, okay.
हम्म,
uh, the the requirement is that you should have 6 point of KYC, which is bank's name and address, your name and the investor's name and address,
हम्म,
his if it's an individual or a company,
हम्म,
the ID. So it can be your social security number, it can be a company's registered number, and how long they've been banking with that particular bank in abroad. Okay, 6 points need to be coming along with that MT103,
हम्म,
right? And you need to emphasize to your investor that please ensure this happens. Okay, and the money gets routed to India in the foreign currency. Why? दोनों का चैलेंज बताता हूँ. अगर आपका केवाईसी नहीं आता सही से, वो ट्रांजेक्शन अटक जाता है, फिर आप फाइलिंग नहीं कर पाते हो, विच हैज अ टाइमलाइन अटैच्ड टू इट. इट 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 इन टर्न्स रिजल्ट इनटू अ लेट सबमिशन फीस. वो एक फाइन लग जाता है नेसेसरली. जब जहां आप एक एक रुपया बचा रहे हो, वहां पर आप 10,000 15,000 का फाइन दोगे, तो डजंट मेक सेंस, राइट? यू कैन अवॉइड इट ऑन द डे वन. सेकेंडली, जब आपका पैसा यूएसडी में नहीं आता है, सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज जेपी मॉर्गन चेज विल यूज XYZ बैंक इन इंडिया जिनके साथ उनकी रिलेशन है, who will convert this USD into INR, send it to Kotak. अब ये एनईएफटी ट्रांजेक्शन आया मेरे पास, उन्होंने भेजा यूएसडी किसी और के पास, जो बीच का बैंक है, राउटिंग बैंक बोलते हैं. सो द राउटिंग बैंक हैज ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन नीडेड टू द ट्रांसफर. I as a AD bank who is actually your bank, I'm not sure, I don't have any clue कि why is this money come to me. It's just normal NEFT, जैसे मैं हिमांशु को NEFT ट्रांसफर करूंगा, right? Now you'll come to me saying यार ये तो FDI का पैसा था, मेरे को formalities पूरी करनी है, but as a your bank I don't have any information to help you out. Then I'll have to first find out which was this routing bank. Then I'll reach out to them. Now this routing bank doesn't have anything to do with my client, okay? Then they will take their own sweet time to respond back, give me an NOC. So this communication, a bank-to-bank communication, takes a lot of time.
So there are four parties.
So to save,
चार parties हुई. Just to interrupt, like एक जिसने payment भेजी,
remitter, remitting bank, receiving bank और receiver. और इसमें 5 पार्टी आती है राउटिंग बैंक, अगर आप ध्यान नहीं दोगे तो.
दोबारा you were stuck for a while, like कि 4 parties that you were going at it, please. 4 parties तो ये
तो रेमिटर होता है, एक रेमिटिंग बैंक होता है, एक रिसीविंग बैंक होता है और एक रिसीवर होता है, ठीक है. सो अब ये दिस इज द प्रॉपर फुल फ्लेज्ड ट्रांजैक्शन हाउ इट शुड बी. अगर उसमें 5 ही पार्टी आ जाती है जो कि राउटिंग बैंक बोलते हैं उसको, देन इन दैट केस आपका ट्रांजैक्शन डिले हो जाता है, बिकॉज द रिसीविंग बैंक इज नॉट परव्यू ऑफ द बोनाफाइड ऑफ द ट्रांजैक्शन, द कंप्लीट. मुझे पता ही नहीं कौन है बायर या कौन है इन्वेस्टर.
समझ गया. And since we also said Swift, right? The things where you were telling, 2 things that from this thing is, first, I also read somewhere that Russia is developing an alternative to Swift due to the US hegemony, right? So what's your take on that space? Like, do you believe कि ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए?
Yeah, see, I think any such development would take time to implement. I think Swift के alternatives have been explored previously also. It's a globally accepted thing, and it has been going for a while. If anything new comes in, it will have its own promoters and detractors, and it will take some time, because in banking parlance, anything that needs to be changed of such nature, which it will take a lot of time. It's not easy to do it, because
at the bank you are not considering it that much, key factor at the moment in your.
It's not a differentiator. It's not a requirement per se.
Yeah.
Because इसकी कोई ऐसे लैप्सेस नहीं होते हैं इतना, मतलब कि आपने सुना होगा किसी ने फेक या हैक करके स्विफ्ट ही कुछ ऊपर नीचे कर दिया. सो इट्स अ वेरी सेफ ट्रांजैक्शन मैसेज
इन द डेली ऑपरेशंस ऑफ योर बैंक, since you are working over there, तो ऐसा तो नहीं, does it hamper कि जब भी कोई न्यूज़ आती है कि भाई Russia is developing alternative, you guys like?
No, it doesn't. So like for example, CBDC came, right? And in my previous organizations, CBDC was not promoted that much, okay? But when I joined my current organization, so CBDC is they are promoting a lot. So, and essentially even the employees have an app which is for digital rupee, okay? So a lot of our petty expenses and everything come into that. So they are also making our employees use that, because obviously कहीं से तो शुरू होना जरूरी है, right? तो that's a new thing for me also, right? जैसे UPI आया था, वो भी आप कहीं ना कहीं उसके ट्रांजेक्शन शुरू हुए होंगे, तभी वो एक एक्सेप्ट पब्लिकली या वाइडली एक्सेप्ट हो पाए.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It takes time. Any new technology, if it's not a game changer, it takes a lot of time.
Just for audience, what's the full form of CBDC?
DC is a digital currency. I know. Is it central bank digital currency? I'm not sure.
E-rupee is a part of CBDC?
It's a part of CBDC. CBDC, central bank digital currency, central bank digital currency.
Gotcha. क्योंकि I was also reading कि this along the CBDC lines, this thing is कि क्या होता था, जैसे गवर्नमेंट ने कोई स्कीम्स अनाउंस करी and they used to give money directly to the people who are having account, like as family there are 4 people, उनको
जनधन अकाउंट,
कोई भी जनधन अकाउंट हो गया, किसी भी चीज के लिए गवर्नमेंट रेमिटेड like कि आटे के लिए या स्कूलिंग के लिए बच्चों के लिए पैसे भेजे. सो जनरली क्या करते थे कि दे स्पेंड इट लाइक, अगर कोई मतलब जनरली नहीं, मतलब सम ऑडियंस व्हाट दे यूज्ड टू डू कि किसी ने दारू पे उड़ा दिए, किसी ने कहीं खर्च कर दिए, बच्चे को स्कूल नहीं भेजा. नाउ व्हाट दे हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड कि तुम्हें पैसे की जगह टोकन मिलेंगे, और वो टोकन जब तुम वहां पे पे करोगे वेयर इट हैज बीन
उसी पर्पस के
डेजिग्नेटेड,
लिए यूज हो
हाँ,
पाएंगे.
तो वो उसी पर्पस के लिए यूज हो पाएंगे. दैट इज वेरी वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव दैट आई थिंक इज.
Yeah, so Himanshu, I would say that a lot of us who would live in tier 1, tier 2 cities, right, are not aware about the concept called rural banking. कि actually गांव में banking कैसे हो रही है. So when I started my career at IDFC First Bank, I was very fortunate to spend almost 3-4 days in मध्य प्रदेश, होशंगाबाद के आसपास का जो एरिया था, and yeah, I saw them working, and instant respect. Obviously, they don't get so much, kudos or so much laurels, I would say, but kudos to those guys. Yeah, how they so essentially कैसे होता है? I'll just explain. एक सखी सहेली ग्रुप होता है उनका. So what the bank has done is कि ladies को उन्होंने assign कर दिया. ठीक है? So there is a group. किसी को पैसा चाहिए तो वो ग्रुप के एक किटी होती है. ठीक है?
लाइक अ
उससे वो लोग
कोऑपरेटिव,
लेते हैं. Sorry?
लाइक अ कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी.
No, it's not a society also. Yeah. So the rural banking arms gives money to that particular group of ladies, and then the lady, everybody is responsible that the money should be used. For example, A wants to use it to buy a land, so the other 5 ladies will ensure that you use for that, because all the 6 of them are paying EMIs for that. Okay,
अच्छा.
so everybody, so everybody is what interlinked, मतलब एक दूसरे पे निर्भर है एक तरीके से. ठीक है, तो वो बहुत ही अच्छा और बहुत अच्छे तरीके से वो चीज प्लान्ड आउट है. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर अभी भी होगी, बिकॉज व्हेन आई वाज इन बॉम्बे आई सॉ दैट हैपनिंग इन मुंबई एज अ सिटी, राइट. सो वहां पे जो हमारे मीट्स वगैरह आती थी, वो वहां पर सेम कॉन्सेप्ट में उनको कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज देती थी, पर वो कॉन्सेप्ट सेम था, तो मेरे को समझ में आता था कि कॉन्सेप्ट सेम है. पर यू बिलीव दीज गाइज यार इन रूरल एरियाज, वो यार ब्रांच से बांध जाते हैं, फिर डैम क्रॉस करते हैं, गांव में जाते हैं, उनके साथ सेशंस करते हैं, फिर वापस से दे डू दैट एंड दे डू इट डेली. एंड देयर इज नो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आल्सो यार, बिल्कुल बहुत ज्यादा चैलेंजेस है वेदर का वगैरह. एंड दोज गाइज आर वेरी डिसिप्लिन्ड आल्सो, जो मुझे समझ में आता है कि वहां पर जो, अगर मैं आपको 100 रुपए भी दे रहा हूँ ना, उस एक एक पाई का हिसाब है. बट जो ये आपने हिमांशु आपने जो बोला जस्ट नाउ ना, कि लोग आता है पैसा और वो अल्कोहल में लगा देते हैं या फिर सिगरेट में लगा दिया, इट्स मोर ऑफ अ चैलेंज हैपनिंग इन टियर 1 एंड टियर 2 सिटीज, जहाँ पे पीपल हु हैव कम एंड सेटल डाउन डूइंग डेली कोर्स काइंड ऑफ अ वर्क. ठीक है, दे आर नॉट प्रॉपर्ली यूटिलाइजिंग द गवर्नमेंट इंसेंटिव्स. बट गांव में, रूरल एरिया में बहुत ही अच्छा है. मतलब इफ एनीबॉडी वांट्स टू सी द ब्यूटी ऑफ अ बैंकिंग सिस्टम ऑफ इंडिया ना, दे शुड गो देयर एंड सी इट आउट. I was just lost for words. I will कि यार ये भी कुछ चीज है, मतलब इतने अच्छी तरीके से हो रहा है.
ग्रेट इनसाइट. और मेरे जस्ट ऑन दिस थिंग ओनली, इसी लाइंस पे आई एम थिंकिंग दिस इज बिकॉज, just tell me, like, I'm not sure, it's just what I have listened and what my brain is just interpreting, कि टायर 1 में the people usually, जो comparison भी रहता है usually people's के अंदर, that's a lot, the pace is high, the cost of living is very high. In that sense, that increases mental pressure on individuals who are earning, and the like we can say कि जो तुरंत वैल्यू मिलती है, like if the government gives money,
instant gratification.
Yeah, instant gratification, that is not seen over there. क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ने एजुकेशन पे उसके बच्चे के लिए पैसा भेजा, एंड ही डिडंट सी कि भाई मैं उसको तुरंत, वो मतलब 2 दिन बाद पैसे कमा लेगा जिससे मेरे को सपोर्ट मिल जाए, ऐसा करके कुछ. सो दे डू नॉट सी लाइक दैट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट गोज इनटू दीज अल्कोहल और समथिंग लाइक दिस थिंग्स, राइट?
नहीं, true. I would completely agree with you on that. Because in Taiwan and Tier 2 na, a lot of facilities that these guys are getting, or these set of people are getting, most of them are not utilizing it to the proper I would say potential, I would say. ठीक है, मतलब, and lot of them are not aware also. So दोनों सिक्के के दोनों पहलू होते हैं. ठीक है, so And I'm pretty sure government, yeah, see schemes, anything and everything. Like for example, just to relate, right? You can just launch a cohort and have people coming and teach them how to break into VC, right? But then if the person coming is not studying, is not being honest to himself, not being disciplined, not understanding, not following what you're actually telling him to,
mm,
and then he ends up not getting anything.
mm,
They cannot come back and saying that I am Mirko Niwa,
mm.
because you didn't follow what I was telling you to do, right, at the first place.
Yeah.
I can just lay down the path to you,
Mm,
okay? And that was the case, LeBron James is so great. His son, would have had the same path, right,
mm,
to the greatness.
mm,
But he's nowhere. He doesn't have the same talent, or maybe even if he has a talent, he doesn't have the same work ethic, or it can be anything.
mm,
So not Sunil Gavaskar's, Rohan Gavaskar's. You can compare everything. You always, somebody can lay down the path for you. You will have to follow it. Similar, government can lay down policies. They can give you benefits, but you have to utilize
mm. By the way, this episode is powered by Break Into VC. So if you have not, just check it out.
them.
Best way to get into VC and IV. So coming back to the thing.
Yeah. See, I did a little ambient marketing for you.
So yeah, coming back to the things. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great insight because I see it like totally different mindset चाहिए if you are making policies for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. भले वो target audience same हो लेकिन behavior change हो जाएगा because of their surroundings, right? And other
True.
factors too. Yeah. So coming to, since we are talking of the government things, right, and the policies and all of that, what do you think की key challenges रहते हैं FEMA की sides पे and even in the rural banking side? So let's first address the FEMA thing. In the terms of government, कि government को ये चीजें
हाँ.
improve करनी चाहिए.
Yeah, improvement ka to, like, from the FEMA angle, there are a lot of things, and obviously, good thing is that RBI listens. Yeah, so contrary to the belief that government bodies do not listen, RBI as a body listens. They have a very frequent AD bank conferences where they call people who are representative from the bank and understand what exactly is happening. Secondly, they are powering the banks more. So they are saying that you come to me, tell me the problem, tell me the structures, tell me the kind of transitions happening in the market,
Mm,
and let me know if you need my approval, if you need me to step in, if you need any kind of policy to support that. I'm more than happy and open to do that.
mm,
And that kind of confidence, because I can tell you, so I'm telling Himanshu this today, and you'll have that confidence यार कि अच्छा आरबीआई कहता है ऐसा, मतलब कोई है जो वहाँ कह रहा है,
mm,
but you'll not see this in the newspaper, would you? You'll not see, because it doesn't come out like that.
mm,
You always see what they have changed the policies, they have done that, but it's in overall scheme of things, they are looking at a larger game, right?
mm,
For example, you must have read that our relations with China are on a upswing. They are getting better,
mm.
but are we still now are we allowing money from the Chinese investors coming into our core sectors? No, because it will take some time. Everything has a method, right? So
Mm.
essentially, if we talk about PN3 per se, uh, if you
PNC,
think about it, PN3 is Press Note 3 guidelines, which came from RBI, where it spoke of the land border sharing countries. Okay, so it's now the idea is that if India already has something,
mm,
okay, a kind of a technology that we already have, why should we rely on China for that?
mm,
Okay, it doesn't make sense. If we are self-sufficient, why should we do that? Okay,
mm,
and just to promote our own people, like Make in India concept,
mm,
right? So just to promote our own people, own products, own technologies in the similar lines. Maybe they are not that advanced as Chinese ones, but we can do that, right? Obviously,
mm,
because if people we keep on falling back on the Chinese options, obviously वो Indian चीज को कभी मौका नहीं मिलेगा,
mm,
right? So that's all what they think of. And secondly, the rural side, I would say, I think it's it will I think it's coming up the curve, like I said. Yeah, that particular infrastructure ना, it's very beautifully done.
mm,
We don't see it because हम लोग रहते नहीं, हमारा जाना नहीं होता. अगर जाना भी होता है तो we just pass them, a highway is going through a village and we have passed that village, but we don't know how nicely it is structured, because so I have my roots from village. I know that they need money. It's very easy for them to get. Obviously, the problem there is that cash का दिक्कत होता है because a lot of transactions are cash still. UPI is something that's coming up obviously
Mm.
because जैसे phone जो आप बोलते हैं digital channels या digital आपका they are getting a lot of internet. So
Net
वो धीरे धीरे हो रहा है.
Yeah.
हाँ. So that, but again, that's I think one of the challenges. Cash and obviously RBI did monetization long back, demonetization, sorry, long back, and then obviously curtailed down on the 2,000 rupee note
Mm.
just to ensure they're trying their bit. But we are a democracy of 1 billion plus people. Yeah. So
Mm.
it's very hard to please everybody. And we, like you said, that we change our behavior from tier one to a rural area. We also change our behavior from north to south,
Yes.
and it's very important to understand. And I have worked in Mumbai, I have worked in Delhi, I have studied in Gujarat, I have studied in Calcutta. So I know for a fact that and how different people are, how different places are, how different the vibe of the places.
Mm.
So it's very important to understand, I think.
Mm. True. 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 That's true. Yeah, man. I also think like SEBI, RBI are one of the key top institutions in that manner, who have been performing from quite well in terms of less
Right.
political interference as comparison to any other institution.
Autonomous. So they have more autonomy, right?
Yeah, that's
And I think that there is a reason behind it, right? Because uh, it's very important for us as a country to have more foreign inflows, right?
mm,
And uh, have investment coming into the country.
mm,
Just I would say like Hyundai IPO happened, right?
mm,
And market just is on a negative side, right?
mm,
And people are saying that a lot of money was invested, and then the Hyundai has taken that money out of India. Okay,
mm.
but do you realize that so much money got into the system?
Yeah.
Yeah, so much money got into the system. That money would not have made it to the system if that wouldn't have happened.
Mm,
So there's a flip side to it. So that India, I'm not sure on the correct number, but it was somewhere around $3 billion, I believe. So much money was invested into that one single IPO. Yeah.
mm. I see. I see.
So this much money is there in India.
Mm,
Like, it's just not part of the system currently. So
yeah.
it's very important. And as a bank, that's what our focus is. That's why a lot of checks in terms of how much cash you can deposit, how much cash you can withdraw. At least the policies the ED banks have implemented, just trying to ensure a lot of money goes and comes into system and then stays in the system, rotates in the system, and then benefits come out of it.
Mm, I see. I see. Since you said like lot of money, so it just struck me like since you are also managing a lot of money, right, of the people. Where do you think the people are most investing at the moment? Since we being from a VC space, currently VC markets are bit in sense of they gave less return than the stock markets at the moment, like in the next
Hmm.
previous 2 to 3 years. So currently, the more of the LPs are more like they are open for VCs, but as comparisonly, they are more looking towards the stock markets if they are giving more return. So what?
Equities and obviously investing abroad, I would
Yeah.
say that's the that's what's happening.
Mm.
They're planning to see what is our available opportunities in the foreign geographies,
Okay. So
Singapore, US, UK.
any sector?
Uh, I it's more on the IT side, yeah. Technology. Everything is technology these days, yeah.
Yeah. We
So
just
it's tech driven only, yeah. Because
with their
see, on a
on relying.
touch and feel side, what else you can do?
Yeah.
There are a lot of very less possibilities there, right? It's more on the tech side only.
Yeah. I see. We just saw like in terms of Mukesh Ambaniji's term like Nvidya and the
Hmm.
Vidya thing. So he just had a conference and they are like strategic partnerships in terms of building AI infrastructure for India. So yeah, that's absolutely
So,
true.
so Geo platform was a game changer, wasn't it? Meta invested into them, and I don't know, God knows who all invested into them,
Yes.
and it's become rato rat. It became such a big giant, right, in the market, and it was required. Yeah, we should be having our own Facebooks, we should be having our own Google, we should be having our own Apple. It should be the focus, right?
Yeah.
And I was just reading about this Ola Electric and everything, and
Mm.
it was very. Somebody had mentioned, and see, I'm very neutral on whatever is happening in terms of the servicing and everything, but
So now,
at least Ola tried something, right? EV, they're trying something, right? Which other people are not trying on that scale, right? So,
yeah.
which is very required. If see, uh, it's if you're trying big, if you're failing big, it's
Mm.
fine. I think you can afford that. It's fine, but because there's a lot of learning
Mm.
coming out of it.
Yeah, that's I totally agree with that in that sense, because scaling to a company, it scaled in very little time. It went public.
Hmm.
If yeah, Ola Electric is public. Yeah, so it went public in very little time from building to scaling. But I still think that's मतलब हमारे बीच में, but it's not क्या कहते हैं उसे like it's not a justification for the bad service we are saying, but in terms of
Obviously,
uh,
it's not. But at least he's trying, यार. मतलब see
it's
क्या होता है. Even I'm pretty sure जो चीजें हो रही होंगी ना उनके लिए भी नहीं होंगी,
uh,
because they don't have anybody to follow, right?
yeah,
Now if somebody, for example, you start something today, you know यार ये चीजें हैं, so मैं कुछ चालू करूंगा, उसको मेरा point of differentiation होगा customer service.
even
I'll focus a lot on it,
break
right?
was
So
first.
now you know the problem. So for you, the lithium battery would not be an issue, because वो तो it's a given now. It's part of a point of parity now.
Mm.
Now for you, customer service would be a POD.
Yeah,
So that's how.
that's true.
So because they are industry first or maybe second, however you want to call them,
But then, yeah,
but whatever they are facing, it's the first time that they are facing.
Hmm.
They must have planned for it, but they must have not planned for
Yeah.
things happening, because today's age of social media, anything can happen out of anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot actually plan for all those things.
yeah. I also didn't plan for one. So yeah, the things are like, since you are talking in these, so I was listening to the podcast of Nikhil Kamath with Nandan Nilkan, if I'm pronouncing his
Hmm.
name right. So he also said कि इंडिया में जो revolution हुए थे, so there was UPI, there's Aadhaar, and he also considers one as Geo that we were talking. Because the ultimate penetration that it did was at next level.
Hmm.
And I think it will same happen with the media space now, acquiring or what the merger or the joint venture, whatever is happening with Hotstar. I think in that manner also.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think Netflix and Amazon Prime, they have been trying. Obviously, they are platform like Sony Live, Z5, who have their own niche, have their own segment that they cater to, and more than happy to cater to those people only, because their mainstream is obviously the television, right?
Yes.
The satellite. But on the mobile phone, I would believe, I think Geo and Disney Hotstar. Hotstar, I would say, was one of the pioneer. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not sure. I remember them only watching a lot of things. EPL. They had the best of the titles with them,
Hmm.
and then Geo came along. So obviously,
Hmm.
it would be a game changer. Let's see how it pans out, because obviously with every Geo acquisition, one anybody, and I think everybody would actually think that, is the market or is the industry going to a monopoly?
Hmm.
Because like in telecom, you only have Airtel and Jio actually fighting it out.
No.
Vodafone and Idea are like,
But BSNL also
far.
in recently, but yeah, though they are
Yeah, they are coming back. I would
yeah.
say. I think I would say that I always believe that they should not have let go that easily.
Hmm.
It was a state-owned Navratna. I was part of Navratna. I'm
I'm
not
not
sure
sure.
if it was, but it was one of the highly uh, talked about and important resourced for the government, and I think they were doing good job, yeah, compared to a lot of other state-owned companies.
Uh,
Yeah.
Coming to the last thing, to be very no, not last thing, second last thing. Last thing is gonna be crazy.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
uh, what do you think on such things like inherent tax? Because you are doing in the terms of wealth management space, and it has been a lot of debate.
Hmm.
Like in India, there is no inherent tax. So
Hmm.
inherent tax is basically just कि एक जनरेशन से दूसरी जनरेशन पे पैसा जाता है तो बीच में टैक्स लगना चाहिए नहीं लगना चाहिए. So
इंडिया में नहीं है, इंडिया में है ना,
इंडिया में नहीं है,
इंडिया में एनसी टैक्स नहीं है.
इनहेरेंट टैक्स नहीं है इंडिया में.
अच्छा, नहीं यार.
If there is uh, now the from Mukesh Ambani, the Akash Ambani or Anand Ambani will take in, there is no inherent.
हाँ हाँ, इंडिया में नहीं है. Right, right, right. I'm so sorry. I have not dealt with it, so please pardon my unawareness on this.
No.
But yeah, inheritance, because see, there are restrictions on gifting. There are a lot of restrictions on such kind of transactions.
Yes, yes.
Even for example, I have done cases where what happens is in most of such cases that your next generation is settled in foreign country. Okay, for example, they become NRs, right, non-resident Indians. Now, you being a resident Indian, you want to transfer all your wealth to them, but you cannot do that. There is a LRS limit, which is a liberalized remittance scheme, which is $250,000 a year. So you cannot send money. So you have to come up with different structures to do that. And a lot of these people I have seen, and we have also helped them out. And even RPI has given approval in some cases where they have gone out and created a trust, a fund. But that's a challenge, I would say, because inheritance tax नहीं होना is a good thing, I would say, because कोई चैलेंज होता. बट प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पर दूसरी है कि बहुत सारे लोग के जो बच्चे हैं या नेक्स्ट जनरेशन अब्रॉड में सेटल है, तो यहाँ से पैसा लेके जाना है अपने आप में एक चैलेंज है. So that's the challenge.
In UK, in countries like UK and all of that, where the India's most of the laws have been adopted since we were, the part of the crown prior to the independence. So inherent tax is over there too, and that I think is a win for the government since they get a huge tax that helps in somehow, I would say somehow, reducing income inequality, since the government get taxes, they get deployed to the unprivileged, and versus just getting the favor on that
Yeah,
side.
I would say our capital gain tax increase and all those recent changes, and obviously what is in store for the next budget. Uh, we are a high tax economy, I would say, because
Yes, we are.
see, I was in Finland, and I was told that 45-50% of what they are earning is taxed, right? But they know the medical is free for them, the education is free for the kids. If you study beyond a certain age or certain grade, you get paid to study. Okay,
We can add quality,
and then
quality education, quality that.
yeah. So there are so many benefits that you see. Okay, that I'm being taxed. It's fine, but I'm getting so much out of it. But in India, you don't see that, and that's a big issue. And it's a podcast. I'll give you these examples in person. But there's so many things that yeah. I'm already being taxed so much. Now you want 500 रुपए का चालान for nothing, nothing I've done, but just because you want it. So why? It shouldn't be happening. But it's how it is. So corruption and taxation, it's a big. I think these two things, I would say, it's holding us back, and that's why a lot of people move out of India also, right? They want to go out and settle abroad, and that's where the challenge arises. I remember there was a case that so the owner or the parent passed away, and the children were NR, non-resident. Now he or she left behind a will, which is good thing to have a will, because all the ultra HRI people should be having a succession planning in place,
Yeah.
and should be having a will in place. That's very important. So if anybody who's listening to this podcast, please make note of it, because very important. Okay. But then what happened is that now to take this money out of India, they had a limit, and she or he wanted that मुझे एक shot में 100 CR 200 CR whatever was left मेरे को ले जाने को आप allow कर दो, but that was not doing because it's money going out of India, so there are restrictions on it. From, so I'm talking the soul of the so what the soul of the FEMA law is.
Yes.
So anything going out of India has more restrictions compared to anything coming into India.
That's
I have to break it down. Very
I think
simple.
वो हर कंट्री में रहेगा, आई थिंक सो, क्योंकि हर कंट्री चाहेगी कि उनके में और इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हो रहे ना हो.
Right.
They have a lot of money. So, but
Right.
to the thing, like I think inherent tax would be a progressive tax in that sense. That as the income increases, the taxation increases, right? Because inherent tax will.
But it has to be implemented properly, right? And I'm not sure this
100%.
current government would be able to do it because how they are placed right now, and then the next government, if it's not the same one, will not do it. So it's not in near future happening.
Yeah, not a soon thing.
Because it's not a soon thing. It's not a like 10-15 years thing also. By the time we would be wondering about our inheritance. So so that I think that's would be the time when it will come into the picture.
I see. And what do you think, since you are dealing in FEMA, this is my last question, then we'll come out to a bunch of the questions that people have asked on LinkedIn. So, the thing is ki people like Nirav Modi who run out of the country, right? And FEMA law also applies to them. So, how does that thing happen? Where do you think कि famous laws वहाँ पे fail हो जाते हैं कि वो they are not able to get that person back or recover that much of amount, total amount, and such things happen, whether it's with PNB or whether it's with, whatever the case is.
So, हिमांशु, फेमा वहाँ पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं था. फेमा कैपिटल अकाउंट ट्रांजेक्शन्स में होता है जहाँ पे मूवमेंट ऑफ इक्विटी होती है, ठीक है, या आपकी ओनरशिप चेंज होती है. ओके, so they were they were part of export import of diamonds, right? So that's what the guidelines they were in reach of. जो बाय क्रेडिट्स वगैरह का वो ऊपर नीचे कर रहे थे. So अब now and they did money laundering and so they were governed under AML laws. So FEMA doesn't apply to them. Coming back, see, everybody knows what happened. Okay, it was an internal thing. They had support from the banks that were named in the charge sheet and whatever happened. So without support, I think it would not have been possible. Because any bank and every bank has a very solid and robust, I would say, policies. And I think as a banker, integrity is one of the things that you should be you should have a very high integrity, because you will always get so during demonetization, people used to give such kind of offers that you would say yaar ke kya rubbish hai, matlab, just to save money, just to save their cash. So its integrity should be very high, and it's you have to be, at the end of the day, it's your choice, yeah, what you want to do. If they must have thought they might not get caught and something like that, but you see any kind of scam which happens related to banking sector has always been because there was somebody internal or inside involved.
So bunch of the questions now that were asked on LinkedIn. So there was one like they asked around if you would have to choose a legacy industry, where would you put your money in?
Technology, I would say IT.
Okay, the same as you answered.
If you say right now AI, I think AI is something which is going to be a game changer. We have just scratched the surface.
Yes, this is not an investment advice. We do not give any investment advice. Take it your own risk.
Yeah.
And okay, and there was one who asked like, how the investments in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities falling in. Like, see, if I'll give it more context. Like, you manage people's wealth, right? So how do you see like those guys putting in the money into the tier 2, tier 3 cities in India?
I would say, sorry. Sorry,
Can
sorry.
be as a philanthropy perspective, or can be as, just to support the things. Anything, please. Go ahead.
So, what I understood from this question was that how the wealth is getting distributed in these cities, and then obviously how they're making use of the money that they have, right?
How they are empowering tier 2 and tier 3.
So, if I have the money, how I am
Yeah,
empowering
like how you
my,
will, or how this wealth management thing will empower tier 2 and tier
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I think the behavior and the ultimate goal remains the same. That if I have one, how can I convert it to 10? If I have 10, how can I convert it to 100? Okay.
3.
Uh, in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, people are not aware about investing into startups or investing into foreign geographies as as your ways and means to increase your wealth. Okay. And with I would say in last 2 3 years, with a lot of initiatives, and I would say a lot of ground level work done by a lot of good people in the ecosystem, and who are part of the ecosystem community also, right? That you run, right? The TEC. A lot of awareness has come that okay, I can use my money, put it into a fund AIF, okay, or I can put it into a startup directly using a platform like Let's Venture, We Founder Circle. There are so many, right? I can use that. So, or go
Like,
to an angel list and be a part of a consortium, right? So you can do that, right?
or
So,
you can also use
uh,
some fund.
yeah, because yeah. So I started with that. So yeah, so so you can do that. So that awareness came obviously, and secondly, obviously, so and a lot of money is still lying with them. Yeah, like uh, you go to Surat, you go to Lucknow, you go to such cities, right? Uh, People have a lot of wealth. They
Mm.
don't know what to do with the money,
Mm. Yeah.
and we are just scratching the surface, I would say, with in terms of all these AIFs and all these funds, right?
Mm.
बिकॉज टिकट साइज भी स्मॉल ही है 25 लाख रुपए अगर आप ले रहे हो अगर 5 लाख रुपए 10 लाख मतलब आई नो 25 लाख का आजकल हो गया है बिकॉज रूल चेंजेस बट 25 लाख भी ले रहे हो तो आई थिंक एनी गुड wealthy person would have 2 3 CR lying just to taste the waters of how an investment to startups looks like, or investing into a foreign geographies market looks like.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And even also, I think कि अगर investments होगी, so it's a circular economy. Even
Hmm.
if you do in tier 1, it will expand in tier 2 and tier 3. It will impact that as well. So that,
And yeah, all these people were the tier 2, tier 3 people only who are just come up the curve to tier 1 cities and doing
yeah,
this, right?
that's
Because in tier 1 cities, you don't see major industrialists doing all this. Yeah,
yeah.
they don't do this. Uh, everybody has a family fund, everybody has a family office. They do invest into startups, but they are not the go-to people to invest into startups. So
Yes.
people who currently investing into AIFs funds, VC funds, and just directly to the startups
Mm.
are people who have either generational wealth, okay, or have created their own wealth.
Mm. That's true.
So that's how it is right now.
Mm. That's true. And also, the last thing is, like, one person asked, are investments in offline businesses dead? Is there any need compulsory to be have an online presence?
I don't think so. Yeah. So if offline is what your product has to be good product, or whatever you're trying to create, it has to be good because see, flip side is on online everything is a flash in the pan. It's not it doesn't guarantee you anything. You can be very much trending in the first year of your business, second year nobody knows where did you went,
Mm.
what happened to you. You one season you appeared on Shark Tank, everybody saw, everybody bought, your numbers were very good. Next year everybody forgot because second season of Shark Tank came, similar product or similar competition brand came, they started buying that product. What happened to you, nobody knows.
That's,
But offline it's a harder job.
mm.
I think it's a takes more of your time, more of your effort, more of your planning. uh, Depends what are you trying to do. Is it into manufacturing, is it into Horka, like driving to have a restaurant or something? Is it an apparel brand? How do you go about it? What do you promote? How do you promote? What is your target DG? What is your pricing policy? So it takes a lot of thing. Takes a lot of effort, but it's a long term thing. So if it hits right, it's a long term.
That's true. That's true. That's true. It was fun chatting, man. मजा आया audience के साथ.
Likewise.
But yeah, got to know a lot in terms of banking, in terms of policies that we talked about, tier 2, tier 3, जो division you told, like it was, I never thought in that manner, to be honest. ठीक है, तो वो चीज़ में यार,
Glad, yeah.
to be honest.
Glad to come on your podcast, I would say. Or do you have a show? I'm not sure, but glad to be on a podcast. I know we have been planning this for a while.
Yep.
And I think it's your first nighttime podcast. But glad to chat with you. And obviously, thanks everybody who actually asked all those questions on LinkedIn. I did get a chance to see. So I had a good time talking to you. And like always, I wish you all the luck for the next cohort that you're starting. And I hope it's a success as the previous cohorts were. And you do good job along with the people that you work with. And yeah, all the best to you guys.
Thank you, man. By the way, we'll also see you over there too. But yeah.
You will see me in what capacity and how you will get to tell me. But then obviously, I'm available to help you out, guys. Yeah.
That's super cool.